Alrighty, so leaving work, and it is pretty much official. I am a weightlifter again. So I started doing all the weightlifting again last week after the Arnold, where I hit that 150 gearless clean in the training hall. I was like, hey, shit, I might be able to do this again. Hit it all last week, did a bunch of variations throughout the week. On Saturday, did a total day, said, I don't know, I'd be happy with like a 90, 140. Ended up hitting 98, 139, just because pounds plates couldn't do the 140. So 98, 139, which was 215 pounds and 306 pounds with my competition collars on there. Yeah, and it felt really good. I just worked up until the weights started to feel hard, or when I started to struggle a little bit. That ended up being 98. 132 was a little bit tough, but I said 140, so loaded up as close as I could get to 140 without going over, and fucking full sent it. And I'm pretty sure, I am sure, because I looked at my competition results, that is 7 kilos, that total, 7 kilos above the most I've hit in competition. The most I've snatched in competition, 105. A different time, I clean and jerked, I think, 132 in competition. Best total in competition was my first nationals at 232. So, I'd say I did pretty fucking good. So we are definitely looking at the possibility of doing a competition. Nikki competes in May, but that meet is like $85, and I really don't want to spend $85. One of my athletes at her gym has a meet in September, which I don't think is $85. So may do that, may do something before then. I don't know. Enjoying it again, and it's making for a lot of good content to put out. So we're going to keep rolling with this until I get bored or until I want to keep going. We'll see. But on that point, the actual meat and potatoes of this video is gonna be pretty quick. So your knees should go in when you squat. That is something that I thought was debunked like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it is still pretty pervasive in the community. I'm still hear from many an athletes, and I see many places online where it's like, oh, damn, that lift was good, but my knees came in, so I fucked it all up. Like, that was terrible. And that is just not the case. Your knees do not need to be perfectly in line with your toes throughout every single lift, especially if it's heavy. And in fact, if they are in line with your toes during your heavy lifts, that's probably not that beneficial. So I'm pretty sure one of my guys is now speeding past me right now. Your knees should come in when you lift. So the whole like physical therapy reason, like safety reason that it was ever a thing that your knees shouldn't come in was purely based off of, oh, if your knees come in, they're not in line, that is more stress on your ACL, on whatever ligaments that is, whatever the case would be. More stress on the joint, you're going to snap something, you're going to hurt yourself, da-da-da. And that really, honestly, I think just comes from the fact that it doesn't look as pretty. If your knees are coming in, it's not as symmetrical, it's not as picture perfect, and things that aren't pretty, people don't like as much, which is just the fact of humanity. People like pretty things. So when we look at that, why do our knees actually come in? So we have these big old muscles in our groin area called our adductors. The number, or the largest one there, the adductor magnus. Magnus meaning large, so the largest one. And they do a lot more than just adduction. Adduction, ADD, not ABD. Adduction brings your leg into your midline. So when your leg is out wide, adduction is bringing your legs closer together. So your adductor magnus does actually a lot more of that. It is actually one of the primary muscles that is involved in hip extension. So it's pretty important when you're walking, but it's also pretty fucking important when you're squatting. So when you are squatting, your knees coming in, that is just your adductor magnus doing its job, trying to assist in hip flexion or hip extension as it is supposed to. That is not necessarily saying like, oh, hey, your quads are weak, your hammies are weak, your glutes are weak, you need to get those stronger and your adductors taken over. No, you when you are lifting a very heavy weight, snatch, clean, squat, whatever it may be, we want all of our strongest muscles participating to help us complete that lift. We don't, like, it's not really a matter in competition of, oh, how pretty does your lift look? We want your lift to look good, but at the end of the day, is it at least 2 white lights or not? Okay, cool. We made it. Okay, cool. We did that. Now we get back to training. All right, let's fix some things. Let's make it look a little bit better. But on the platform, it's did we make the lift or not? And in that case, like, again, like, your knees not coming in is more of just a pretty thing. If it looks better. But at the end of the day, your adductors play a very large role in helping you stand up heavy weights. So when your adductors contract, your knees are going to come together because they also play a role in that adduction, bringing legs together towards the midline. So there's nothing at all dangerous about your knees coming in. I have not heard of anyone tearing an ACL or tearing any of their ligaments like that from their knees shooting in. It's going to be some sort of other injury that gets you. But your knees come in for a reason. It is not just something that your body does only when there's heavy weight for no reason. Like, on your max effort lifts, when you are maxing out, you're pushing it to the fucking limit, like, you are going to have some compensations. Those aren't compensations for no reason. Like, your body is reverting to its strongest position to finish the lift. And your knees coming in is your body's strongest position to stand up that squat or whatever movement it is. Now, on the flip side of that as well, your glutes are pretty fucking strong as well. So when your knees come in, we're actually stretching the glute a little bit. And if you know anything about exercise science, kinesiology, when we stretch a muscle and rapidly contract it, we get a lot of that potential and kinetic energy spitting back out, and we can jump or we can explode a little bit more. It's like when anyone's doing a vertical jump test, they're going to snap down fast, snap up even faster. Same thing with our jerk. We go down fast, we come up even faster. That stretch shortening cycle allows us to use that energy, spit out even more, use that reflexive, tendinous, elastic nature of our muscles and ligaments or our joint structure to help us explode out with more force. So when those knees come in, that is not only just your adductors playing a role with that maximal hip extension, as they should, it is a good thing. You're also getting a little bit of that stretch shortening cycle in the glutes. So we have a two-pronged approach there where we're getting double the help. One, your adductors are playing their main role of hip extension, which they should be doing, and we're getting a stretch shortening cycle of the glutes so we can produce more power from the glutes. So at the end of the day, there is nothing at all wrong with your knees coming in. Now, I say knees coming in, if our kneecaps are actually touching in the middle, all right, that's a problem. Like, let's not be stupid here. Like, let's use some common sense. If our knees are actually like clicking together, that's a problem. We probably don't want that much. But a little translation into the midline is not going to be an issue at all. And if anything, it will be beneficial and a lot more beneficial. Like, all of this shit where we're pushing up against a band as we're squatting, that is not doing anything. I can promise you that. Because if you are doing a banded squat, focusing on your knees out, and you're practicing that with like less than 50% weights, your body is not going to remember that with 100% weights, because that 50% load is not enough to actually exert a stimulus. And if you are so focused on driving your knees out, you're actually overriding the strongest part of your body. Your knees want to come in for a reason, because that's where you're going to be strongest. Again, when we are doing max outs or we're going super fucking heavy, your body doesn't just go to positions that are a lot weaker or more unstable. Your body automatically defers to its strongest position. So it may not look pretty, but your max out, like, no matter how ugly that looks, that is where your body is strongest, because it's trying to leverage its strongest areas to finish the lift. So, big summation here. Your knees, when you are squatting heavy, should come in a little bit. That is what your adductor does. That is how your glutes get the extra stretch shortening cycle. That is all good. Your knees coming inward has nothing to do with safety. It is just people who think that, oh, this lift needs to look perfect. It's just people putting this overall like big gold standard to everything. Like, that's just not the case. There is no gold standard picture perfect squat. There is no gold standard picture perfect snatch, whatever the lift may be. Everything is going to be person dependent based on their body type, based on 100 different factors of each person. There is no gold standard of anything. There are some big rocks that we want to hit and some big portions of the lift we want to hit. We've talked about this before, like maintaining our center of mass, fixating underneath the barbell at its apex, its highest point. So those are examples in that snatch, in that clean, in that jerk. But the whole thing of, oh, your knees shouldn't come in, it's dangerous. It's not fucking dangerous. Again, if our knees are tapping together, that may be an issue. But just a slight knee coming in is not dangerous at all. It is maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing, maybe not the most pretty, but are we trying to be pretty lifters, or are we trying to make lifts? In training, we should try to be pretty. We should really try to have the best technique possible, so that translates to the platform. But when we are on the platform, I want you to look good as a lifter. I don't want you to go out there and throw up some ugly mess and it's like, shit, I taught you that? Fuck, that doesn't look good on me. Kind of joking there, but when you're on the platform, I want you to succeed. I want you to go 6 for fucking 6. I want you to hit PRs. I want you to have a good fucking day and love the sport. How pretty you are when you do it, I don't really care. It's not a huge deal. Again, we should train to be the best and most technically efficient we can. But when we're going fucking heavy, let your body do what it wants to do. If you're fighting against your body, trying to help you out, you're not going to make the lift. Your body is trying to help you by bringing your knees in. It's saying, hey, the current muscles we are using cannot finish this task. They cannot meet the demands needed to finish this lift. So let's bring in these other stronger muscles. Let's bring in our adductors. Knees come in a little bit, stretch that glute. We can now use our glute with a little more force. We can finish the lift. Stop trying to fight against your body, trying to help you. Let your body do what it does. That's another big fucking rant it could be. So many people think they can outsmart the body. Hey, your body tries to do this, but you need to do this. Dude, this body has been developed over millions upon millions of years of evolution and of just adaptation to its environment. In your 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years of coaching and science or whatever, you're not smarter than the fucking body. Our species has lasted this long for a reason. You did not just figure out every single thing about the body in a couple years. You are no expert. The body is the expert because human civilization is still here. So let your knees come in a little bit. Again, don't get egregious. Don't be stupid. Don't be egregious with it. Let your knees come in. It will not hurt you, if anything, and really not if anything. It will benefit you.